So I think we have a unique opportunity to maximize and basically benefit from the increased interest in medical school that has resulted as a number of new minority applicants are applying to medical school following the pandemic. You see doctors on TV more often, just the whole career in medicine has been much more visible, and people are encouraged and inspired to pursue a career in medicine. And I think that that's wonderful, but we won't really see any true change in the numbers of actual physicians or clinicians unless those people who are applying to medical school are admitted and successfully trained.
You have a free market on one end, and then you sort of have a plug on the other end. Obviously, there's a limited number of spots for medical school. Brilliance and ethnicity or race or sexual orientation or gender is not mutually exclusive. They're not mutually exclusive, but it just appears as though the way that we've gone about medical school acceptance in the past makes you want to think that maybe the people who are making those decisions think that they're mutually exclusive. I'll never forget, I was earlier in medical school and a person, said, how do we increase diversity in our medical school classes without decreasing the quality of the student? And as a result of that thinking, we do have a lack of diversity in medical schools. And then as a result of having a lack of representation in medical schools, we have a lack of representation in the resident pool and then eventually the physician pool. And so we really do have to change who the decision makers are. And we also have to change the way that decision makers think. Holistic application processes, I think, have helped out a little bit. But I do think there needs to be diversity in even who's selecting for interviews and then eventually for acceptance.
While we should be encouraged by this new groundswell of interest in medicine that's coming from minority applicants, we need to follow through with making sure that the institutions who are evaluating these applications understand the things that were outlined in my paper with diversity pipelines, which is that there are added values that underrepresented applicants represent. We should not overemphasize the standardized test scores because that's not always an indicator of how well someone's going to perform. And they need to ensure that on these application committees that women and people of color are represented so that they have a better understanding of how to evaluate their entire applicant pool. So I'm really hopeful that we will, in fact, see an increase in the number of minority physicians as a result of this new interest. But I think we need to be careful so that we can ensure that we maximize, and capitalize on this opportunity.